What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning. So come by and say hello. Okay, well, there was another tournament slash brawl town hall hosted by Weirdbeard this morning, which I got to catch the majority of it. There is a replay available as well, although you just check the Discord. I'm sure they have a link there, but they mentioned that they were recording it and that there will be a replay. But I wanted to bring to you some of my biggest takeaways, and I don't have everything kind of organized the way that I do for a town hall, but there were a couple things that I heard, I got excited about, and that I wanted to mention here to one, let you guys know in case you miss it, and two, get your feedback on some of these things, because what I think Weirdbeard is doing right now is awesome in a sense with hosting these town halls to really get a lot of feedback from players as to what do we want, right? What do we want? What do we want to see? And you know, he's in the trenches, he's in it with us, trying to figure out exactly what we think would make the game better. So if there was any point in which you guys have not felt like your voice has been heard when it comes to this, now is the time. So here's what I'm going to give to you. And again, these are just kind of like my biggest takeaways. But the first is that there are two different types of game modes potentially that are being discussed, and we've talked about them previously before, but you know, it seems as though we're getting closer to the actualization of them happening. So the first of those is ghost card tournaments, and the second is draft mode tournaments. Now, for clarification, and just for those who might be unfamiliar with it, let's go into ghost card tournaments first. Ghost card tournaments means that you can play a game, and similar to how there's starter cards right now whenever you play ranked battles, you can have access to all the cards or maybe all of the starter cards, but have them at maybe different levels. For example, right now when you play with them, they're all 1 BCX and they barely do anything. But let's say we play a Chaos Legion ghost card tournament where everybody has access to either the entire Chaos Legion or maybe just the starter cards Chaos Legion, and which would be the commons and rares. But we have them at silver, or maxed for gold, or even maxed all the way out for diamond. I think that could be really interesting because it allows people who aren't able to play in the tournaments because they don't have the cards yet or they don't own the cards. They don't need to rent the cards in that sense. They just jump into the tournament, see how they like it, maybe test out some different strategies playing with these ghost cards. And it comes down to merit, right? It comes down to how good are you at the game and your strategy around the game. So I like that. It puts everybody on an even playing field, which is very different from the tournaments now. And I think that could add a lot, not take away from the tournaments that we have, because there's still a lot of value with the tournaments that we have, which shows, like, you know, kind of the investment that players have made, kind of the decks that they have built their collections around. But the ghost card tournaments present something else. Like, it's just, if you want to come in and maybe you do have a minimal investment, maybe you're more of a casual player, well, you can come in and still get competitive within that pool of people. And then, as a way to maybe incentivize card ownership, you could have people who play a deck in a tournament. Maybe they win the tournament or get, you know, place in like the top 5 or whatever, and they're just like, okay, you know what? I think that this deck is worth investing in. And all of a sudden now they're incentivized to buy the cards because they know that they know how to play with these cards now, and they know the value that these cards have within whatever the meta is. So I like the idea of ghost card tournaments. I mean, this is something that's been pushed for a while, so I'm really hoping that we get this sooner rather than later. The other one is draft mode, and this is interesting for me because there's a whole different strategy here when it comes to it. It's a whole different meta when it comes to the type of game mode that it is. And that is, there is a pool of cards that is available to maybe you and your opponent, or opponents if it's more of like a tournament. I assume it'd be like you versus, you know, 1v1. But you pick a card, they pick a card, you pick a card, they pick a card, and you kind of build your team or maybe your collection for whatever this will be from that, which I think, again, it comes down to, you don't have to own the cards for this. And maybe you have to own some of them. Again, there's not much clarity on it yet. And I don't think there's a decision that's been made. But let's say you don't have to own the cards. What does this do? So I know a lot of the pushback is that people are going to say, well, now it's going to disincentivize people from owning cards. And my thought process around this is, sure, it's going to disincentivize casual players who would never have bought a card to not buy cards. But here's the thing. the more casual people we get into the ecosystem, the more you kind of hook them on how addictive the game is. And I'm not even saying this in like an insidious way. It's just like, allow people to interact with the game however they like. If you create game modes for them to be more casual, where they're just like, hey, I like this game, but I really don't want to throw down $5,000 for a max deck. I don't even want to throw down $1,000 for a bronze level deck because playing in bronze sucks. But if you're telling me that I could pay, I don't know, $10 a week, and I can, and without having to like rent cards and feel the need to rent, get my rental money back, I can just, pay $10 or whatever whenever there's a tournament. And again, $10, I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe it's like 30 SPS, right? Just like something like this. Maybe it's just 30 SPS. Then I can come in and I can just play with all the cards there. That sounds pretty good to me, because keep in mind, look at how many players are playing in this League of Champions, 66. Now, imagine how many people would try to go for this prize pool if they had access to all the cards. So there's 66 players here. We have maybe 20,000 players. Even if like half of them, even if like a fourth of them decided to go in and play this because the winnings are good and they want to compete at the high levels, and it's 30 SPS, so it's it's a lot but not that much. Well, I don't know how people will view 30 SPS. I'm sure it's that's a lot to some people, and I'm sure that's a little to others. So I'm not trying to make a judgment one way or another. I'm just saying for 30 SPS you can go and play in a tournament, right? Play in a tournament with the chances of winning. Now imagine how many people out there already do this for games that are not Web3. That are just like, oh, let me enter into this tournament. Let me see how good my skills are, right? Imagine the buying pressure on people wanting to buy 30 SPS regularly to enter into this tournament because they feel as though they're on an even playing field. Well, hey, all the big SPS guy here who's been asking for utility, that's something that could get in, 5,000 players, 10,000 players that are currently in the player base. And imagine what it could do for players who are not in the player base currently, but come in and say, this is a cool game. I like what it's doing. I think there's a cool strategy and meta here. It's kind of poker, kind of Magic the Gathering. But I don't really feel like buying cards. But I'll come in every so often and buy some SPS to play. That's what I'm getting at. And I think both the Ghost Card tournaments and the draft mode can create that kind of hype around it. So I'm excited for that, and I really, really hope we can get something like that soon. All right. Second thing that I have, and I think I got a total of 3 things. So it's just this and the last one. Second thing is Weirdbeard was talking about, is there an interest for sponsorships and endorsement type deals that the company can do? And the examples that he gave are gaming related, right? So if, for example, right now you go into a tournament here, and this is one that's, specifically created by the team, SPS tournaments, and it's given out, $30 in SPS and DEC. You have the League of Champions here that's giving out $2,500 in SPS. Well, what if some of those prizes were, instead of SPS, or maybe in addition to the SPS, things like a partnership with a gaming keyboard or a gaming chair company, right? Or gaming headsets, all these different things that we would use as quote unquote gamers, right? And this is where we're getting into the whole esports side. That's where this collaborations could be, or where these collaborations could be. Would there be an interest? For me, hell yeah. We want that. We want that for sure, because any outside money that can come into this, and it doesn't, and I shouldn't say money, any outside value that can come into the ecosystem creates a nice two-way partnership, right? Because now we start to reach the audiences of these companies, and these companies can reach us as an audience, right? So if, I don't even know what brand, I have a Red Dragon keyboard here, right? If Red Dragon wanted to come through and sponsor and say, top 6 players in the tournament will get a free keyboard set. That'd be pretty awesome, right? Now, and Red Dragon, this is a free one on me, all right? So if you ever want to sponsor this channel, feel free to come through. But let's say that happens right now. Well, people have heard about Red Dragon. Then it's brand awareness. It's working for them. They get to send out 6 keyboards, and it's great, right? To me, these types of partnerships and collaborations work both ways. We get to learn more about the brands that are interested in supporting something like Splinterlands, and those brands get to reach us with hopefully cool products that we would actually want as gamers. So that's my hope in this. That's my hope that we will get things like that in the future. And the fact that Weirdbeard is talking somewhat casually about it means that there's got to be some conversations happening. So I'm excited for that. Last thing, and there wasn't much on this, but I want to share it. Was the idea of a battle pass. So in the same way that many other games offer these, seasonal battle passes where you get access to certain things within the game, there could be an element of a battle pass where maybe you get access to tournaments, and instead of paying like a fee for every tournament, the battle pass would allow you entrance in like all tournaments for X period, right? I like the idea of that because who doesn't like season passes, right? Whether you're talking about a game, whether you're talking about like an amusement park, whether you're talking about whatever, like people will buy something that will give them kind of like this unlimited feeling. And it is unlimited, right, to a certain extent. It is limited to whatever tournaments are actually here. But it's the idea that people could like invest in this if they believe that it's providing them value. And maybe it ends up being, a little bit less than how much it would cost to enter all the tournaments individually. But ultimately, for those who are treating this almost like a job and wanting to hit every tournament, and again, maybe not even those treating it like a job, maybe the people who are just addicted to the game, which is awesome, they'll have a way to get into these tournaments now for a little bit cheaper. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to be cheaper. I'm just saying that, well, what would the incentive be to buy a battle pass? Maybe there'll be some other perks that come along with it. So those are my biggest takeaways from the kind of Brawl Town Hall or Tournament Town Hall. It seems as though there's some exciting things coming. We have been just grinding through the first half of this year with very few updates, but it sounds as though there's a lot of things around the corner. Now, to be fair with you guys, and you know that I always try to be fair with you, it sounds as though there's been stuff around the corner since February. So just to temper expectations, I'm hoping that the end of the airdrop provides the kind of jump start to the engines that we've all been waiting for and that we've all been thinking is coming. But we're not there yet. So we got a couple more weeks, end of the airdrop, and then we're golden, hopefully. But just trying to temper your expectations. This stuff may not be coming next week, maybe not even next month. I hope that some of the stuff that was discussed today is going to come this year. But again, just want to temper expectations because I don't want anybody coming back to this video in like 3 months and being like, hey, remember this? Because I do that with my own videos, right? Like I was the one calling out the airdrop potion, which was talked about in January, which still isn't here and I don't think we're ever going to get. But that being said, there is some exciting stuff in the works, and so I remain bullish on where this game is going. I remain bullish on where tournaments and brawls are going, and I'm hopeful that we get a lot of these things implemented sooner rather than later. So let me know your thoughts in the comments here. I would also encourage you to go into the tournament section within the official Discord server to voice your opinion because there's some good conversation happening. And again, if you want your voice to be heard, if you have some cool ideas, I think there's nothing better than getting the crowdsourcing the hive mind on this and coming up with the best ideas for the community from the community. All right, guys, that is all I have. Have an amazing rest of your day. I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.